brother, I'm telling you right now, doing the trail, and everybody knows him as Sasquatch. I just know him as a guy that always, when you see him somewhere, we have a good time. And why is it always me and you get our foot caught in a fun wheel at the country's folks get to the city and we have a good time?
Exactly. You put a country boy in the city and there's no telling what's going to happen.
There's no telling, man. We wide-eyed and bushy-tailed having a good time. But, dude, what's been going on, man?
Man, just fighting a good fight. This world's crazy we live in, and the more time I can spend in the woods, the happier I am.
That's even better, ain't it? Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, what some stuff happened last year, man? Did you have a pretty good hunting season, or anything crazy happen?
I tell you what, hunting season was a little up and down and different. You know, we've got stuff is changing so much in the West with the amount of hunters and the amount of people moving there and all that. So it was different, but doing the trail and spending 40 days out there with nothing and trying to live like them mountain men, it was interesting. I actually had a heck of a year. Wound up killing a bear with a pistol, 2 wolves with a pistol, and an elk. All with a pistol on the same trip.
Dude, you know, one thing I like that you do, you know, in the world of everybody chasing these big trophies, you kind of taking that more I'm surviving, kind of what can I get from the land, what's it going to give me? You know, it's almost somewhere between a modern-day hunting show and an episode of Alone. And I think that for me, man, there's something that's cool about it versus the average hunting show where you're just trying to go kill this buck named, you know, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah.
That's some big 12-pointer that scores 180 inches. And I think all of us want to be a Boy Scout, and I think you are Outdoor Channel's. You are that Boy Scout. You are the Huck Finn of a network, and I love it, man.
Man, that's the thing. From the time I was just a little kid, I was raised up. My uncle was a big, I mean, he was born 200 years too late.
Right.
He took me out 8 years old, had me eating grubs and teaching me how to build a shelter and building fire and stuff at 8 years old. And so, you know, I didn't really have a choice.
Right.
And I learned so much growing up that my woodsman skills, I mean, that's where I'm at home.
That's right. From just knowing the trees. You know, a lot of people don't even, I find it crazy, like you'll see I hate to use the word city slicker, but somebody go cut firewood. Well, they'd be cutting all these trees that don't even make good ash, you know? It's like, man, and my dad, you know, he was country, same thing, kind of like your uncles. Like, man, they ain't even gonna make no bed of coals with that wood. They done pick and wouldn't spend all the time cutting. And it hit me, it's like, you know, and I'm sure you thought of this, there's so much that we get a chance to take for granted that we know that we were taught or learned just being out in the woods that a lot of people never see.
Yeah, stuff that's habit to us, to 95% of the world, is foreign. You know, they don't know. You think of Las Vegas, where we're at right now. You think of all these people there, you take them out in the woods, they'll be lost as a Christmas goose.
That's exactly right.
They're not going to have a clue what to do. Their car breaks down and they're in the middle of nowhere.
That's right.
How are you going to stay warm? How are you going to do all those things? They'd never know.
As a matter of fact, it's kind of like, it's fun. I always enjoy being at a show in the big city because especially when a lot of the country comes to town, because we're out there trying to figure out how to download an Uber app like, now they just pick you up right here. Or, you know, it's like, you know, do we tip? You know, it's like we don't, or turning your lights off in the hotel room. Like, how many switches?
Oh, I'm telling you.
About breaking the electric blinds, trying to figure it out. And so it's funny, every time I do that, I think, well, somebody who knows this good don't even realize that that's a white oak tree or those are wild blueberries you can eat, or don't use that, that's poison ivy, you're gonna be itching for days, you know? So it is cool, and y'all do a good job of kind of bringing that, and it kind of makes you wanna, I don't know, just kind of go on that rustic backpack tripping deal. And I mean, that's the number one thing. My kid, that's all he's asked me. I take him hunting all the time. He's like, Dad, let's go to the creek and camp. I mean, it's like, we got a house, son, but there's a certain little kid in us that always wants to go camping.
100%. Well, you look like, I got a 2.5-year-old daughter. She's already been to like 7 different mountain lion trees in my backpack.
No way.
You know, so you think of that. She's gonna have seen more by the time she's 5 years old than most people will ever see in their life, you know?
Exactly.
So it's, I don't know, I'm very blessed with being able to grow up like that. And, you know, it's funny, I always considered myself like a modern day Jeremiah Johnson. Way back when I first got started with Sasquatch, I walked into Jeff Wayne here at the SHOT Show 18 years ago, walked up to him and I said, Jeff, I just want a minute of your time, shook his hand. And I said, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go poll all your viewers. And if Jeremiah Johnson isn't in their top 10 favorite movies, you don't ever have to talk to me again.
That's
I said,
exactly
but Jeff,
right.
if it is, I'm the modern day Jeremiah Johnson. And I was scared to death.
Right, but that was your sales pitch. That was it. Like, hey,
And
Check it out.
I walked away, and sure enough, he called me right after that and said, "Hey, come back. I want to have a meeting with you."
That's
You know,
cool,
and
man.
so that's kind of what like I say, I've been blessed, man, to be
And that
able to live
is
that
it, man.
lifestyle.
And that's what I feel like the trail represents and what you've always represented. It's almost like, hey, man, if you get stressed and you can't figure out what's going on, just, in your case, now you're married. When I first met you, you wasn't married. And
Nope.
now you're married. And so I met your wife, just a beautiful, sweet, sweet lady. And, but man, when times get hard, that's all you think about. Do like Jeremiah, go back in the middle of the woods, build you a cabin, get you enough firewood to get you through the cold months,
Yeah.
do a little trapping.
Well, you know what's crazy? Like with the way the world is today, right? So everybody thinks, oh man, I could never live back then because it'd be so stressful and the hardships. And to me, it's physical stress. That's easy for me. It's the mental stress, and nowadays, having to deal with all the different, paying bills and making money and all that kind of stuff. It's not surviving the way that I would love it to be, but it's what we're dealt with.
It is. It really is a kind of vicious hand if you think about it, because, I mean, and now even to survive on land, well, somebody's going to say, well, hey, are you paying tax on that land? Do you have a permit to be on the land? So the more you try to escape to be free, you realize how enslaved we are. But at least, a darn mountain stream and a sunrise over the valley, you take it in different, and you're right. You're exactly right. Physical stress actually makes you sleep good at night.
Yep.
Mental stress will keep you up for days and kill you, man. It'll kill you.
Ain't that the truth?
Your uncle sounds like my dad. My dad tell me, he said, man, if hard work would kill you, he said, I'd been dead a long time ago. That was his favorite saying, still is.
Well, my grandpa used to always tell me, he said, if you're going to be stupid, you better be tough.
That's right. That's another good one. That's a fact.
It is.
It is. Laramy, do you obviously you do a lot of trapping too. You do a lot of hunting, big game hunting. Like I say, what I like is you ain't necessarily chasing the big one. Of course, I mean, if you know you own a big one, you're trying to kill it. But at the same time, it's a little different romance with the woods is what you kind of go about it different than a lot of these other shows. It is kind of that, Jeremiah Johnson approach. But do you like, from the trapping standpoint, what's your favorite thing to trap? You trap a lot of coyotes or beavers or stuff like that? Or
I love trapping coyotes and wolves.
Yeah.
But beaver, for some reason, just because I've always been partial to the mountain man era. And beaver was brown gold, and so yeah, they're stinky, greasy suckers, but I love trapping beaver.
Dude, I've never got into that. I got to get you to teach me how to do some good beaver trapping. I like the coyote, bobcat around the house, but we hadn't even touched on the show. What's your take in like a minute and a half, 2 minutes on the whole wolf situation? You see that all across Colorado. Obviously, you're in a place that you can legally still trap wolf.
I've got to watch the wolves the last 18 years living in Montana and seeing what they do. And I wish people, the problem that we have is we have uneducated people making the decisions on our wildlife. Let's face it, there's too many people. We've encroached on all these lands. The wolves, I hate to say it, because I love seeing wolves. I love wolves, but they don't belong in a majority of the places they are.
Just don't fit anymore.
It's too small.
Yeah.
Wolves are made, you look at the Canadian gray wolf, which is what we have in the States, they are made to run down caribou. They're made to run for hundreds of miles.
Right.
They're made for big areas. You throw them in a population where you got elk and deer and animals that don't move that far.
A ton of domestic animals.
Yeah, exactly. You look at your dog. You go turn your dog loose, unless you've trained him, you turn him loose in the woods, he's going to chase whatever runs.
That's right.
A wolf ain't
Instinct.
no different. And what they've done, so they did a study in Montana the last 10 years. And they were trying to figure out what was the biggest depredation on elk and deer herds. Well, wolves didn't necessarily kill as much, but what we found out what they do is they follow all the other predators. Not only do they chase, let's say your elk herds, they're chasing them around constantly. So then they're aborting their fetuses. They're not having the birth rates that we need. Montana right now,
it's a tremendous stress level they put on them.
It's a 6% survival rate for calf elk in the state of Montana.
It's crazy.
And then also what the wolves are doing is they follow the mountain lions around. Well, a mountain lion's the baddest animal in the woods. I mean,
that's a hunting machine.
Yeah, they're an efficient killer. They're a killing machine. Well, these wolves follow these cats around. So that cat will go kill a deer or an elk. Wolves are right behind him. He don't even hardly get to eat on it. They chase him off, and
So
he's
the
got to go
wolf will
kill
get the
another.
mountain lion off essentially to scavenge what
to
the mountain lion
scavenge.
killed.
Exactly. And so the mountain lions are having to kill 3 to 4 times more than they normally do. And so you look at what that's doing to all our ungulate population, our elk, our deer.
It's crazy.
Not only are we hunting them, and you got places like Colorado where there's way too many tags, you know, you're over hunting the heck out of them. Now you're going to throw wolves in the mix. You're already getting depredation by mountain lions and bears. You're going to throw wolves in the mix. It's going to triple the effect.
Yes.
You know, so it doesn't make any sense to me. Let's take another look and say it's money. You're going to lose so much money as a state because you're not going to be able to give out all the elk tags that you give out every year in Colorado.
That's right.
Because you're not going to have the elk.
You're not going to have it.
You know, and so it doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I'm a conservationist first, but the whole wolf scenario, what they've done, and they're trying to do it right now with mountain lions in Colorado. What they've done is they've played with people's heartstrings and, you know, made it seem like it's your little puppy dog at home.
Right.
You know, it's Roger, your hound dog that lays on the porch. No, a wolf is they stand this tall.
They're big animals.
Yeah, they're 120, 130
Yes.
pounds, long legs, and can run.
That's right. Well, that was a great perspective. And that's why I hadn't asked any other hunting personality around here, because one thing I know about you, you are a conservationist. You are, you know, even environmentalist, to where you see everything. You love all of nature.
Yep.
It's not like I'm chasing just a big elk. I'm an elk hunter. I enjoy the coyotes, the bobcats, and it's the balance. And so a lot of people will say, well, just get rid of the wolves because, you know, I love to hunt elk. But you're not saying it from that perspective.
No.
What you're saying makes way better sense. As much as you want to see a wolf as an asset in today's culture and the way we are in population and situation, they become a liability.
There's a reason our forefathers got rid of them.
There is.
Because you can't coexist, especially farming, ranching, stuff like that. You can't coexist with a predator like that.
That's right.
The amount of country that they cover. You know, look, I want my kids to be able, my kids' kids, my grandkids and great-grandkids to be able to see wolves someday.
Yeah.
But they don't belong in certain areas.
I agree.
And a lot of the places, and then if you do turn them loose, let's not make the same mistake. So Colorado turned them loose. Let's not make the same mistake as Idaho and Montana and Wyoming did and wait 20 years to be able to hunt them.
Right.
Because then they got to a population. That's the hardest animal in lower 48 to kill. Is a wolf.
If you're seeing them in daylight, they're a problem.
Yeah.
And second of all, another perspective, as I'm hearing what you're saying, it kept coming to my mind, which makes great sense. It's like an alligator. Not against alligators. I'm not against wolves. But you know what? They're not trapping alligators and turning them loose in Orlando in these parks where these kids are swimming.
Exactly.
Because guess what? You're not going to have good coexistence. So, well, it's dang good to talk to you, Sasquatch.
You too, man.
Absolutely. Always good to see you.
Always great to catch up.
It's always great to see your wife. Such a sweet lady. And always good that we can have a chance to go get a cold beverage and chat and catch
There you
up.
go.
And see what our adventures have took us, man. So,
yeah, I appreciate it.
Carry on with your success,
Always
buddy.
appreciated you, man.
Yeah.
You've always been
Thank you, man.
right there forefront for us. And
Thank you,
so I
buddy.
appreciate that side.
That means a lot coming from you there, man. A lot.